people I know are smart, but there's a lot of stupid rich people. And New York's stupidest rich people gathered in one room today and proved how stupid they are with reactions like this.
Caracas, Venezuela, has almost no crime. Next year, I'm going to suggest that the Economic Club hold its meeting in Caracas because we'll be safer than we are in our country if they win. We'll be far safer.
Now just think about how stupid you have to be to say that. Then think about how stupid you have to be to clap for that. Joe Biden is president of the United States now. Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States now. They are in power now, and the Economic Club of New York is not having its meeting in Caracas. It's had its meeting in Midtown Manhattan today, in New York City, where they were all very, very safe. Most of the rich people in that room live in New York City and work in New York City every day, very, very happily getting richer every day and living in complete safety 24 hours a day in New York City. The New York Economic Club is not a club of economists. It's mostly Wall Street types who don't have a graduate degree in anything, who have never produced anything, and who have spent their lives massaging money. And every one of them has gotten much, much richer during the 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration. Now, I knew how stupid the speaker was before he opened his mouth there today, but I really did not know how stupid so many members of the New York Economic Club are until I heard their reactions to the stupidest person who has ever spoken to them.
And I'm very honored to have been endorsed last week by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That was a great endorsement, and he's very much into helping people. He's very much into helping people.
Now, the good news about that particular line is it sounded like it was a small minority of stupid rich people in the room who clapped for Robert Kennedy Jr., the Jeffrey Dahmer of the animal kingdom, who loves dead animals, dead whales, and Donald Trump. At least they didn't fall for this line.
We did a great job, and now we really know our job well. I know the smartest, the best people. We have the best people.
The best people. They know what happened to the best people, the people Donald Trump called the best people in his White House. He went through 4 White House chiefs of staff. He went through multiple secretaries of defense, secretaries of state, national security advisors. He fired many people who he called the best people. And now dozens of Trump administration officials, including cabinet members, publicly oppose his reelection. Once Donald Trump droned through everything in his teleprompter, he took 4 and only 4 questions from prearranged questioners. First, he got 3 softballs from rich men. He answered none of their questions. He spoke, but they weren't answers. And then he finally got a real question, a serious question, a pointed question, a focused question about something apparently only one person in that room cared about: childcare. And I'm going to show you that question and full answer now. The question was by Reshma Soujani. I want to show it to you for a few reasons. One, it is a better question than most questions I've heard asked at presidential debates. And 2, Donald Trump is completely incapable of answering the question about childcare. The only thing Donald Trump actually says about childcare in his answer is, and I'm quoting now, childcare is childcare. Those are his words. You'll hear it. And here's the important part, the most important part. And for that, typical Trump incoherence. He got, from those rich people, a huge round of applause. Huge. Sounded like from everyone in the room, the stupidest rich people in New York. It is the applause at the end of that horrific jumble of words that is not an answer to anything. It's the applause that is the most disturbing sound in that room today. Far more disturbing than the sound of Donald Trump himself droning on at a teleprompter. Those stupid rich people clapping for the man who they watched try to overthrow the results of the presidential election, clapping for a man who says childcare is childcare, or clapping because in the middle of his droning speech, he promised them, all of them, another huge tax cut. Those stupid rich people are willing to corrupt American democracy for the stupidest person who has ever spoken to them. Here is the moment when the stupid rich people in the room proved who they really are.
President Trump, you talked about how the increase in the price of food, gas, and rent is hurting families. But the real cost that's breaking families' backs and preventing women from participating in the workforce is childcare. Childcare is now more expensive than rent for working families and is costing the economy more than $122 billion a year, making it one of the most urgent economic issues that is facing our country. In fact, the cost of childcare is outpacing the cost of inflation, with the majority of American families of young children spending more than 20% of their income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that both parties talk a lot about what they're going to do to address the childcare crisis, but neither party has delivered meaningful change. If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Child care is child care. That guy talking isn't the problem. It's those people clapping that have brought this country to this crisis point.